And I love that they use twins to illustrate this because, we think of twins as being exactly alike, especially given that these twins in particular were created in a laboratory. So
You're listening to
Path of the Jedi
with your host, Ronnie Cruz.
All right, welcome to Path of the Jedi, the podcast where Star Wars meets personal development. My name is Ronnie Cruz, your host for this, fast-paced adventure. Things are moving much quicker. They're just moving fast. I feel like we just started. Well, I feel like we were just talking about the Book of Boba Fett. Then we started Star Wars Visions, and now we're already all the way up to episode 3 on Star Wars Visions for today's episode. 3 out of 9. So this particular phase in our adventure is going to go much, much more quickly than you might think. So hold on to your butts. Make sure you're keeping up. Make sure that if you haven't seen Star Wars Visions yet, that you take a gander at these amazing pieces of work, each of which are uniquely beautiful, and together as a collection, they're just an amazing addition to the Star Wars library. So again, if you haven't seen these yet, go ahead and check them out, and it'll even add a deeper layer to the discussions that we're having here on the show. So today we will be talking about episode 3 of Star Wars Visions, and this episode is titled The Twins. And as you can probably guess, the story in this episode revolves around a set of twins. Now, these twins are not like the twins we're used to. They're not like Luke and Leia. They were actually created by the Empire, in some evil imperial laboratory, with the intention of using the dark side of the Force, making these twins very powerful so that they can supposedly bring order to the galaxy. Now, as a quick reminder to those of our listeners who are not Star Wars fans or don't follow Star Wars, these Visions episodes don't fall anywhere canonically into the greater Star Wars universe, right? They're not part of the canon. So no part of the storyline is there an evil set of twins created by the Empire, right? Not like, The Mandalorian or the Book of Boba Fett or Star Wars Rebels animated series or, the Clone Wars animated series, of course, all the movies. Those all fit into one big story. These do not. These are just kind of independent, like alternate universe, what if type situations. Now, the story opens up and we find ourselves, the twins find themselves at the precipice of fulfilling their purpose. Well, at least fulfilling their initial purpose in bringing this massive giant weapon to life. This weapon for the Empire. And I don't know what it is about the Empire is that they love weapons that can blow up planets. So we have another situation where the Empire has built this massive weapon that can blow up planets, and the twins, because of their power and their strength in the dark side of the Force, are the only ones that can activate this massive weapon. All right, so we got to take a quick tangent here because I just had this massive realization. And honestly, I don't know why I didn't realize this sooner. But the Empire's pattern of building these ridiculous world-destroying weapons, these weapons of mass destruction, in the name of order and peace, right? They build these weapons in order to bring about order and peace. That very much has real parallels to our world here today, actually to this very day with everything that's going on right now. It seems kind of crazy that the intention of creating weapons that can destroy entire worlds, the intention of it is to bring peace, right? It makes zero sense whatsoever. That's going to be probably a whole entire episode on its own, but I just had to point that out. I just realized that parallel between the Empire and their methodology versus some of the methodology of, the world leaders that we have today. I'm not just talking about one specific nation or country, but in many, many nations. The people that run the world have that in their mind, right? It may not necessarily be about conquest or subjugation, but maybe it does. I don't know. I don't know. Again, this is a topic that warrants its own episode, so we might touch on that on a later date. In the meantime, thanks for letting my brain go on that tangent. Back to the twins. The weapon is about to be activated. This will be the Empire's crowning achievement, but suddenly what we find out is one of the twins isn't down with this situation at all. In fact, not only has he not shown up to the activation of this weapon, but he's stolen a very, very crucial, essential component for the weapon, for the functioning of this weapon, and that's the Kyber crystal. Now again, for those of our listeners who aren't familiar with what a Kyber crystal is, these are the little crystals that have very almost mystical properties. They have properties that are strong with the Force, and so we have these little crystals. They actually are what power the lightsabers, right? So the weapon in this particular episode is going to be powered by a very, very large Kyber crystal that Kare has stolen. So we have one twin, Kare, who doesn't want to get involved with the activation of this weapon, and his sister, however, very much still wants to move forward with it, right? Very much still wants to move forward with fulfilling her purpose and her destiny with the Empire. And of course, this is where we get the conflict that drives the story forward, this massive, massive battle between our twins. Thematically, there's a lot we can bite into in this episode, so let's just take it layer by layer. The first and really most basic theme is the notion of good versus evil, right? I think this particular theme is fundamental to Star Wars, going all the way back to the original Star Wars movie, which later on, of course, became known as A New Hope. We have our light side of the Force versus dark side of the Force, Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan. This is very cut and dry, very clear theme of good versus evil, light versus dark. I mean, it's almost literally with Darth Vader and Obi-Wan, dark versus light, right? And so this is the foundation that we've built on over the years in Star Wars. Obviously, it's gotten more and more complex and nuanced. The conversation has become more layered. And so, fast forward to today, and now we're having this discussion with Star Wars Visions. It's more of a gray area, right? A gray area. The gray area for this episode are the twins, and the fact that in any situation, there are, or can be, at least two perspectives, two different and often opposing perspectives at that. And I love that they use twins to illustrate this because, we think of twins as being exactly alike, especially given that these twins in particular were created in a laboratory. So you would expect them to, follow their particular path, their particular purpose for being created. And we see that despite that, they both have very differing, and in this case, opposite perspectives. The point of contention between these two, the focal point of their dispute, is the Kyber crystal and what it could potentially mean to the galaxy. For Am, it's all about using the power of the Kyber crystal to build a powerful weapon so that the Empire can finally bring order and hope to the galaxy. And then, of course, for Kare, he's like, well, no, this Kyber crystal is everything but hope. It actually is despair. So who's wrong and who's right? And that's where the gray area lies, right? To Am, obviously, she thinks that she's right and good, right? Because she wants to use this thing, albeit with a weapon. In her mind, in her perspective, it's the right thing to do. It's the good thing to do because the ultimate outcome that she's, after is bringing order and harmony and hope and peace to the galaxy. To Kare, and I think to some of us that have seen this episode, it sounds like absolute lunacy. And so it's up to him. He takes it upon himself to stop that from happening. Amidst the conflict, amidst the battle, this tug of war that's happening for the crystal, the crystal actually breaks, it shatters, and each twin gets a piece. Now, Am, what she does with her pieces, she uses it to power this weaponized suit of armor that the Empire had built for her. And when she attaches it to her armor, it she ends up looking completely badass, right? Like, I would not mess with this individual kind of situation. And so she's like, once she attaches it to her armor, she tells Kare, look, I don't care what you do, you're not going to be able to stop me. I am going to fulfill my destiny and bring order and peace to the galaxy. Meanwhile, Kare is scrambling, right? He's scrambling. He's trying to figure out what to do because, he's looking at his sister. Sister's completely looks to be off her rocker, but super, super powerful. So what Kare ends up doing is using the crystal that he got, and he puts it into his own lightsaber. And it's that weapon that allows him, that helps him defeat not only his sister, but to also destroy the planet-killing weapon. And so that's another layer of the conversation, right? It's not that there's any intrinsic meaning in the crystal or any other object for that matter. It's what we decide to do with these things. It's what Am and Kare have decided to do with the crystal that creates the meaning. The object itself is intrinsically neutral until the individual or group of individuals assigns a meaning to it. To take things a step further into a whole nother layer, if objects are intrinsically neutral, they have no meaning, then what about things like people's actions and the circumstances surrounding those actions, circumstances and events that we see and witness or maybe even be a part of? Do those things have intrinsic meaning, or is meaning assigned? Well, let's go back to the twins then. If you look at Am, what she's doing and what she wants to do is use the crystal and her power to help build this massive weapon with the intention and the goal of bringing order and peace and hope to the galaxy, right? So through her eyes, what she's doing is good and right. Obviously, her brother, Kare, doesn't agree, right? And that's why he's decided to try to foil all the plans, right? He goes and steals the crystal so that he can prevent this weapon of mass destruction from being activated. So in his eyes, that's the correct course, right? That is the course that is good and right. Of course, if you ask his sister, she'd probably say that he's crazy. And that's why, obviously, we have this clash, we have this conflict. So who's right and who's wrong in this situation? Well, you might say that Kare is right in this situation because if he doesn't stop his sister, they'll go on and make this weapon of mass destruction, and then they'll destroy planet after planet, civilization after civilization. But here's my question. Is it really fair to say that Am is in the wrong based on things that haven't happened yet? I mean, the weapon hasn't been activated, right? They haven't gone on and destroyed worlds, but we're already saying that Kare needs to step in and stop his sister. Of course, we can make the argument that she's working with the Empire and that she's embracing the dark side of the Force, and of course, those things have a pattern of death and destruction. And yes, I can't disagree with that, right? Those are predictable outcomes within the context of this fictional Star Wars universe. Let's take the conversation outside of that, though. Let's take the conversation into the real world. The point I'm trying to make is that meaning isn't fixed. It's very malleable, and it can dramatically differ from individual to individual, perspective to perspective. In fact, it can differ in one individual over time if there's a perspective shift. So to understand that gray area that we were talking about earlier is to understand the fundamental truth that there is very little, if anything, that is definitively wrong or right, good or bad. I would wager that a majority of the conflicts that we experience on a day-to-day basis, the arguments that we have in our daily lives, aren't the results of anything that's definitively wrong or right, but rather the clash of two different and opposing perspectives. The first step to rectifying all of this is to really try to understand and remember that there are always at least two sides to every story. And in fact, if I didn't say this earlier, there are as many sides to the story as there are perspectives, as there are individuals that are involved or have even seen the circumstances surrounding what's happening. I mean, if you have a group of 10 people standing on the street corner who witness a fender bender, you're going to have 10 different stories, 10 different accounts of that fender bender. So if we want to bring true resolution to the seemingly endless cycle of conflict in our lives, and therefore, in the world at large, we have to let go of the notion of being right, because it's not about right or wrong. It's about differences in perspectives. And if perspectives can differ from person to person, then they can change and be different in you. And that's the final layer. If your perspective about something can change, understand that those shifts can be intentional. You can actively choose to see things a different way so that you can get a better understanding of the other point of view. Life isn't black or white. I think I said that a few episodes ago. Free yourself of the need to be right, and you'll start to see that there's a richly, beautifully layered world out there ready for you to discover. All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode. What do you guys think? Two sides to every story, right? There's always another perspective. What is your perspective on this topic? And for me, like as I'm recording, there's so many different directions that this could have gone. And there's so many other things that I actually wanted to talk about, especially given what happened recently at the Oscars. I think this particular topic lends itself very well to examining what exactly went down and sharing her perspective on that, right? So for me, it's been on my mind. I haven't been able to shake that particular incident. And so I have to, in some way, shape or form, get it out of my head. And so what I want to do, I want to actually do something special, do something different, is number one, I want to do an episode, a bonus episode this week, talking specifically about that incident. And I'd like to record it live. So here's what I'm going to do. This Friday, April 1st, and no, this is not an April Fool's prank. This Friday, April 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I am going to record this special episode talking about the Will Smith, Chris Rock incident at the Oscars. I really want to give a perspective. I think it's important that we kind of dig into and examine it. If for nothing else, again, for me, just to get it out of my head, because that kind of affected me in a way that I really didn't expect. So I'm gonna record a special episode for the show. It's gonna be live. You can participate in one of two ways. You can either tune in via Zoom, we'll do it that way, or you can just watch the live stream on our Facebook page. It's again facebook.com/POTJ podcast. Again, this is happening April 1st, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, in order to get the Zoom link and the information to plug into that, you will have to go to our Facebook page to get that information. So if you're at all interested, please make sure you go to our Facebook. It's facebook.com/POTJ podcast. I will share the link Friday for you guys to be able to hop on the Zoom. And of course, again, you can just watch the live stream on the Facebook page if you want to do it that way. But we will be recording the podcast, the episode, the special episode, me giving my perspective on the incident, right? On the incident. So again, you can watch that live stream on our Facebook page or on Zoom, but you have to go to our Facebook page to get that info. So again, it's facebook.com/POTJ podcast. It's happening this Friday, April 1st. Not an April Fool's, April 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. This will be the first time I'm doing a live stream. It's going to be a trial run. We'll see how it goes. But at any rate, my idea is to give you guys a bonus episode this week while also trying out a different format for the recording. So again, it's Friday, April 1st, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Zoom or live. Go to facebook.com/POTJ podcast for further information.
classified, really.
Okay, so the next piece of news is also very exciting and something special that I'm going to be doing here soon. And primarily this news goes out to any of our listeners out there who might be ready for a change, ready to make a positive and lasting change in their lives. Now, to preface this, the network marketing company that I'm with and I have been partnered with for almost 13 years now, we are running a special, a promotion right now. It's called the Yoli Gift of Life. With this promotion, new business members can purchase a complete transformation kit for the one-time entry price of $150. So you can basically start your network marketing business with $150 for the transformation kit plus the membership fee. And that's it. That gets you started on your financial transformation journey. Now, the transformation kit itself is what's going to help you kickstart your health journey. It's a system of products and meal plan that's really, it's designed to help bring your body back into balance. And don't worry, it's not like one of those deprivation kind of situations. You're not going to go like not eat for days and you're only eating like cardboard, right? It's not that situation. The transformation kit isn't so much a diet as it is a system that teaches you really to make lifestyle changes so that you can take your health into the long term, right? Remember, it's all about making positive, lasting changes. And so the last piece of the offer to wrap it all up is me, right? You get me. I am offering at no extra charge one-on-one coaching, one-on-one mentoring. I'm going to help you through your health transformation. I'm going to help you through your network marketing and financial transformation. And of course, I'm going to help you with your mindset, right? And your personal development as your personal coach with both your health transformation and financial transformation. Again, for any lasting change to take hold, you got to change your mindset first. So I'm going to be there to guide you and to coach you, to mentor you through every step of that, right? And again, that's at no extra charge to you. You're getting me as a personal coach absolutely free. Now, you might be saying, Ronnie, this just sounds like you're trying to recruit us into your network marketing company. And yeah, of course, that's definitely part of it. But here's the thing. I'm only offering this special to 2 people. Well, technically, I'm only allowed to give this gift of life special to 1 person, but I know a guy. On top of that, though, I already have an organization of thousands of people. And of those thousands of people, I only work directly with a handful of elite few. So the 2 people that I choose for this special are going to be part of a very, very exclusive group. Now, there are a couple of stipulations. Number 1, this special, this promo that Yoli is running is only available to residents of Canada, Philippines, and the US and its territories, Guam and Puerto Rico. Number 2, it's only available for a very limited time. In fact, April 5th is the deadline. So if you are at all interested in being considered for this special, please contact me right away. Send an email to info@pathofthejedi.com with gift of life in the subject heading and let me know why you're interested. Tell me why you would like to be considered for this special. Again, send an email to info@pathofthejedi.com with gift of life in the subject heading. You only have until April 5th to get these emails in, so don't waste any time. Okay, last but not least, of course, we have our shout out. This week, for the first time ever, we have a listener submitted shout out. Guys, this is so exciting. This week's shout out comes from Becca Rose out in Provo, Utah. And I'm just going to go ahead and read her email here. Becca writes, I am incredibly grateful for this opportunity to celebrate one of my favorite humans, my dearest son, Anthony Mounga. He is an absolute gem, has a huge compassionate heart with a style and perspective uniquely his own. He is an inspiration to many and gives meaningful advice. He's had a passion for playing since childhood, and his sports career has been spectacular to watch unfold. as he continues to grow into becoming his best GOAT self in the making. That's awesome. He recently tried out for the Salt Lake Shred, the men's ultimate frisbee team of Salt Lake City, Utah, and made it. I am so honored to be witnessing him living his childhood dream. I know there is so much to be thankful for. Thankful for all the blessings along the way. Thankful for our village who helped raise him. Thankful for the knowledge he's gained along the way. Thankful for the struggles that shaped him into who he is today. And so much gratitude to be present as he makes his dreams come true. I'm truly grateful for the belief he has in himself and his tribe. He is working to leave a legacy in the ultimate community by taking time to coach the youth and mentor them. He put so much love into this game, and he is thrilled by the fact that he took his youth team all the way to the States, and he's so proud of their accomplishment. Man, Anthony's killing it. He is happy to be giving back to his community. His entire family is so proud of him, and we are eagerly excited to see what the future has in store. We simply love and adore him. Keep up the great work, son, because this is just the beginning. Much love always, Mama. Well, there you go, Anthony. There is your shout out. In case you didn't know already before this, your mother thinks the absolute world of you. And so congratulations on everything. We want to wish you the absolute best of luck from your mom and from all of us here at Path of the Jedi. This shout out goes to you. That was awesome. That was awesome. Thank you, Becca, so much for that message. Our very first, this is historic, our very first listener submitted shout out. So wonderful, so wonderful. I get such joy out of that, guys. So again, if you're interested, if you have anybody out there that you'd like to give a shout out to on the show, please do not hesitate to send us an email. Send an email or an MP3 to info@pathofthejedi.com with shout out in the subject heading. And I am more than happy to read your email or play your MP3 here on the show, guys. It's all about lifting each other up, shining the light on each other, celebrating each other, and showing our gratitude for each other, right? What's better than that? So again, send an email or an MP3 to info@pathofthejedi.com with shout out in the subject heading. Okay, so that's going to do it for today's episode, guys. Remember, if you want to tune in and plug into the live recording of the bonus episode this week, it's this Friday, April 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern. Go hop on our Facebook page, facebook.com/POTJ podcast, and we'll see you Friday. Beyond that, we're going to have a fresh episode next week. So until then, everybody, please be well, be safe, and may the Force be with you.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company nor Lucasfilm Limited, and is intended for entertainment, educational, and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names and sounds and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is intellectual property of Path of the Jedi unless otherwise indicated.